What is up, Ravens flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. Chance and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome everyone to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell. And in this episode, we're going to discuss the Ravens' path to the playoffs because as we all know, this is quite a heated and contested AFC North, but also AFC overall with Indy doing what they're doing, the Titans doing what they're doing, and elsewhere.
Chargers hanging around.
Yeah, Chargers won't go away. You got the Patriots and the Bills. I mean, there's a lot of potential spots going to be available. Is it going to be so? Is the path best through the AFC North, or is it through one of the wild card positions? So we're here to discuss all of that. But before we get started, take a second, hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and click the bell. That way we can keep you up to date on all your Ravens news. But without any further ado, Jimbo, where do you want to start with this? Because there's 3 games left for the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
We got the Bengals, we got the Rams.
Cincy.
Okay.
Yeah, so right. When we got the Rams at home and we got the Steelers at home. So we got 2 home games and one away game. Of course, this one coming up. This is where I want to start. I want to discuss all scenarios and then immediately disqualify some. But I want to start by saying this. Guys, we found a super secret website that provides us with all of the percentages that for all the scenarios by which the Ravens could get in and the percentage, depending on what the outcomes are. That website is called My Brain. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm not that smart. That would be awesome, though, if I were that type of savant. However, we did find a site that put this together for us. So we're going to talk about all the scenarios. But the first one I want to mention is this, Glenn. Mm-hmm. A lot of people think that this game is a must win. And I don't want to get into the other scenarios, but there is a path to the playoffs. If the Ravens lose this game, there's another path to the playoffs by which they have a 91% chance of getting in. So this game, like you said before the show started, might not be as much of a must win as we think. And that might have an impact on who we have at quarterback this game as well.
Yeah.
So let's start with that first scenario, though. If the Ravens beat the Bengals and then lose the next 2, how about we start there?
Okay.
What's it look like?
So if the Ravens beat the Bengals, and they lose to what's
the Rams and the Steelers.
Okay, so if that were the case, the Ravens have a 9% chance to make the playoffs. So if they only get to 9 wins, just beating the Bengals, losing to the Rams and Steelers at home, they would have just a 9% chance.
And I literally think like 30 seconds ago, it dropped to 7.
Well, there you go. It's even worse. And so it's clear, well, I guess I shouldn't say it's clear, but it looks like 10 wins is the magic number right now to get into the playoffs on this AFC side. And that 10 wins could get you in, as an AFC North winner and you get a home game, or it could be you got to go on the road, you're a wild card team, and see what happens, which, let's be honest, the Ravens aren't unfamiliar with that territory as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think overall, guys, one of the things we're going to get across in this video is that, just like you said, Glenn, 10 is the magic number. Hook or crook, that's the magic number. And so maybe not getting so caught up on this game is important if you want thinking about the Ravens making the playoffs. But the path to the playoffs, without getting more specific, the general most likely path is 10 wins in any way, shape, or form. And part of that reason, I think, Glenn, is because we have we would have the tiebreaker over Indy. We would have the tiebreaker over the Chargers. So we have some tiebreakers that we would have I don't know if we would have the tiebreaker over the Browns or not, if they're in contention as well.
Well, then it would go down to division record. And right now the Cleveland Browns have, 2 wins in the division. So it really depends on where our wins lie the rest of the season. Cause we got 2. So the interesting thing is 2 games, not just in the AFC, but both in the AFC North, and then 1 game against an NFC opponent. So if you just do the math, it's pretty clear which 2 games you'd like to win and which one you'd like to lose if you had to lose one of them. But let me just quickly go over who's in front of the Ravens right now. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at 10-4. Gosh dang it! I mean, just when you thought they were Here they come. I mean, here they come now. Currently have the best odds to win the Super Bowl, according to the sports books. So the Chiefs are top at 10-4. New England Patriots right behind them at 9-5, as well as the Tennessee Titans also tied at 9-5. And then currently leading the AFC North is the Cincinnati Bengals at 8-6, who of course own the tiebreaker over the Ravens, both in head-to-head matchup as well as division record, as they sit at 3-1, and the Ravens are at 1-3, and of course lost their head-to-head. Then behind the Bengals are Indianapolis Colts, the LA Chargers, and then the Buffalo Bills, rounding out those above the Ravens before they come in there. So they need some help. But here's the good thing, Jimmy. You mentioned it. The tiebreakers. The Ravens beat the Colts. The Ravens beat the Chargers. And although it looks like it won't play a part right now, the Ravens did beat the Chiefs as well.
And you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, especially when you consider the COVID issues and the fact that Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were just both put on the COVID list, as
and
well
they
as
have
their
to play
kicker.
the Chargers one more time, right?
They got the Chargers. They got a pretty decent schedule down the stretch too. I know they got some AFC North matchups as well.
The Steelers,
the Browns, or is it the Steelers? That's right, Steelers. So yeah, you just never know. But the point is, all these teams, all these teams aren't going to win out. These
Right.
teams are all going to be playing, a lot of times playing each other and beating up on each other. So there's going to be, the bottom line is, if the Ravens get to 10 wins, is what it looks like. So let's say the Ravens beat the Cincinnati Bengals and they beat the Rams and they lose to the Steelers. Jimmy, what does that do for their playoff chances?
Yeah, that gives the Ravens a 91% chance to get in the playoffs. So once again, if you just switch the Steelers and the Bengals game victory, if we beat the Rams, then it's interchangeable there. So it's also a 91% chance. But I think, unfortunately, I don't know how likely it is that we beat the Rams. But the coolest thing about that is that, to me, if you had to rank the next three games, the highest likelihood of winning to the lowest, I'm going Steelers, highest likelihood of winning, Bengals, because it's hard to beat a team twice, even though we got destroyed by them. It's hard to beat a team twice, especially an interdivision team, and then the Rams. So if that is the case, if we only beat those two division teams, we have a 99% chance of getting the playoffs if those are the two of the three that we win and we get to 10. That's good. I mean, that's good news, right?
Yeah, that's really good news, which tells me that the Ravens still have their own fate in their own hands. I mean, they don't necessarily need a bunch of help if they take care of this business, because some of these guys are matched up against each other, so someone's got to lose. So it's not like it's impossible here. They have a 99% chance if they just win their two division games, and they can still lose to the Rams at home, which is very much a possibility, because of the fact that they have a tiebreaker over the Colts and the Chargers. And as long as they don't win out and the Dolphins don't win out, because we can't forget about the Dolphins, Jimbo, even though they're down at just 7-7, they do have a tiebreaker over the Ravens. So if they win out and the Ravens win 2 of 3 and they both end at 10 wins, the Dolphins would in fact have a tiebreaker. But I don't anticipate the Dolphins being able to get that done when you consider they still have a Patriots game. They still have a Titans game. They still got to play the Saints. They still got, they got a lot of tough matchups down the stretch, like everyone does. So the good thing is they still have, now let's say this, because I tend to disagree with you, Jimmy. I think the hardest game left is the Bengals.
Okay.
I think that's the one that scares me. So
not necessarily hardest, but what I'm saying is that, so that's your lowest possibility of victory is what you're saying.
Yes.
Because I definitely agree with that. I think it's the hardest game in that, because it's interdivision, it's a road game. Like, I get that. Yeah. But that also okay, so your lowest likelihood of victory is the Bengals game.
Yeah, I'm worried about that Bengals game. I mean, I just the matchup wise. I mean, I look at their front, and what they did to our offensive line, and I kind of and then their receiving core and our banged up secondary, what Jamar Chase did the first time, and what he could likely do this time. It's just a scary matchup. So let's say they lose to the Bengals and they lose to the Rams. And they only beat the Steelers. I'm seeing right now they have a 14% chance if they go through that avenue. But then they need some help, right? Then they need the Dolphins to drop, at least one of these last three. They need or two of these. They need the Bills to take a couple L's. They need, then you need a lot more help. So the bottom line is, if the Baltimore Ravens can win any two of these last three, then it's a it's a near lock that they're in. But if they win their 2 AFC North matchups, then it's a stone cold lock that they're definitely getting in.
Now, let me say this. This is also interesting. If we said that the Bengals game might not be as much of a must win, but one thing is for sure in the analytics, everyone hates analytics these days because of the decision John Harbaugh is making. But based on analytics, if this is the difference, while the percentage is the same at 91, 92% that we make the playoffs, if it's a 2 out of 3 scenario and it's either the Steelers or the Bengals that we beat, the difference is if we lose to the Bengals and beat the Steelers, we have our playoff seed 65% likely to be a wild card. That concerns me. Now, if we beat the Bengals, even if we lose to the Steelers, assuming that we beat the Rams, so it's still 2 out of 3, 63% chance we will host a wild card game. In other words, we'll be a division winner. So that flip-flops dramatically. So certainly, that's starting to sway me a little bit towards it being a must win. It's certainly a cleaner way to get in the playoffs. I don't want to be waiting to be a wild card and get some help. So certainly this doesn't eliminate us statistically, but it certainly makes it so other things have to fall in our favor if we don't win this game. There are so many paths to the playoffs, but at the end of the day, Glenn, it's got to be 2 out of 3.
Got to be 2 out of 3.
If we lose 2 games, it's over. I mean, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, it's not technically over, but you're right. It's very unlikely, no matter which 2 you choose to lose, you're going to lose. And of course, if you win all 3, then you're definitely getting in. No doubt about it.
Just out of curiosity,
100%.
Is it it is 100. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, 100% chance you're going to win. And in fact, there's even a small chance you get a bye week, which would mean the other teams ahead of you just absolutely tank down the stretch, which again, it's so uncertain with this COVID situation, who you're going to be without. I mean, just imagine how likely what's the likelihood you give the Chiefs of winning if they're without Ty Hill, Travis Kelce, Harrison Butker. I mean, and the
NFL doesn't want that. So
they'll probably just delay it and allow these guys to get healthy and get back.
Or somehow they'll get a positive test. They'll do the Mesa test. Remember the one where you lay them on the table, you smack them on the forehead, and you're positive or you're negative. No, I'm totally kidding. That's total joke, guys. There's a Mesa test, and I totally made that up. That's not real.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but the bottom line is you got to win 2 or 3 to feel comfortable and to feel confident about it. And of course, 3 or 3 would be great.
Now let's wrap it up this way, Glenn. What's your predict? Do you think the Ravens win 2 out of 3?
I think the Ravens find a way to get in the playoffs because it's just what the Ravens do. I mean, it's just it's what the Ravens do, and it's not necessarily what everyone else does. The Bengals, although they are the scariest team right now, they are still the Bengals. And until you prove to me otherwise, I'm going to treat you like the Bengals. And then the Steelers, to me, are just a team that's it's like a guy who's drowning and he's just barely keeping his breath, just barely staying afloat. But it's only a matter of time for you catch a leg cramp. You breathe, you suck in some water, and you go down. And I think the Steelers are at that point. The only thing they're playing for in that final Week 18 game is Big Ben, which I question how much his teammates really embrace him at this point with the age gap and all that stuff. And that what else and really just to play spoiler against the Ravens. But I think some of their players will already be in vacation mode and already be having their bags half packed.
I can't wait. I can't wait to go out there and give Ben a proper goodbye.
That's right, and we will certainly be there to do so. So I think I like our chances. I think we win 2 of 3. And I think it's the AFC North matchups is the ones we win, although I'm most nervous against the Bengals.
Yeah, I have the exact same mentality as you, Glenn. I think that we win 2 out of 3. I think that we find a way in, and you guys will see in our prediction show. I think Eli Apple and the Cincinnati Bengals stepped in some dog crap this week, and I think they might have to pay for it. When you step in dog crap, sometimes you can't scrape it off. You just got to throw the shoe away.
Yeah.
You just
been there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just dragging it all through the store, trying to ignore it. No, I think that the Bengals are in a tough situation right now because the Ravens are coming off of 3 losses.
Mm-hmm.
John Harbaugh's pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson is pissed. The entire Ravens flock nation is pissed. So
3 losses by a total of 4 points, Jimbo.
Yeah, so I don't see the Ravens getting that wrong another week in a row. It's going to be such a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, of course, Anthony from Orange and Black tomorrow night. We'll make sure to give that to you guys. But yeah, I think it's 2 or 3. I'm going with Bengals and Steelers. I think the Ravens find the way in. Guys, let us know what you think.
Yeah.
What is the path that you see? Like we said, there is some interchangeability between the Bengals and the Steelers game if we beat the Rams. Ultimately, it's 2 out of 3. Gets us above 90% of getting in. But we want this division. Let's get it done. Make sure you leave all your comments below, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.